Welcome to PPR Podcast number 149. My name is Rudy, the star of the podcast. Sits to my right. His name is Burt Grossman, former first-round pick in the NFL draft, co-host of the Prep Picks Report, and president of the San Diego Strike Force, and the seeker of our talent. Who's in the hot seat?
Rashard Cook. I was going to say ex-Eagle today after last night, but I'm going to leave that alone.
Hold on.
All right, new coach of Mater Dei High School.
Oh, Coach, we're watching that game last night. Do you still have roots? Do you still have a rooting interest in Philly?
I do, just because it was, that's where I played. And then that rivalry with Tampa is like long-standing from back when we played. I remember they knocked us out from going to the Super Bowl when he was here in San Diego. So still a little deep history there. But, I watch the games. I try to follow as much as I can, especially playoff football is when it get really exciting.
Rashard, you do real estate, right?
I do.
Is that a model home that you're sitting in right now doing the Zoom from? I know that's not your house. Come on. Mater Dei don't pay you that much.
This is my house.
So when you were signing that Mater Dei thing on social media, that was a signing bonus, like Nick Barnett said, right?
Yeah, that was pretty funny. I was like, I wish.
All right.
What were you signing there?
You know what's so funny? That was an old picture from like doing some professional photography stuff for marketing purposes, and then I actually happened to be pretty different that I was wearing a Mater Dei shirt. So they needed a couple photos. I provided a few photos, so it worked out pretty good.
You look a little thinner too. You look a little bit thinner in that picture too. I'm not going to say why you used it, but I'm just saying.
Hey, Coach, before we get to the Mater Dei stuff, of which we will spend plenty of time on, could we just address the elephant in the room as it relates to youth football? We had Dr. Chow on Tuesday on Good Morning San Diego. It's obviously a bill that is making some progress in the California State Legislature to keep kids from playing tackle football until they're 13 years of age. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I do. I think it's one of those things. I think it's a personal choice. I think that's something that should be up to the families to choose if they want to put their kids in sports. I know guys like myself and Burt who played the game. We know how physical it is, and what our kids, that's a calculated thing when we decided to put them in. None of my boys really started at 4 or 5 years old. I did put them in other sports, but they did start playing tackle football before 12 years old. But that was a choice that we made, myself, my wife, and the kids, of putting them in. So I do feel like it's something that it should be determined by the household, by the families, and not by some legislation or some politician.
The one thing I've noticed down here, though, and you might have noticed this on social media, there seems to be, I haven't heard anything from Pop Warner, AYF, fighting this or putting any releases out. What is that about? They should be at least doing something. I don't see anything from either association. You might have. I might have missed it.
I have not. Honestly, I don't have any kids in youth football either right now. So all my kids are my daughter's cheering over at Eastlake Panthers, but I haven't seen anything from that. I don't know if they're formulating something. I haven't really paid too much attention to what they're doing on their end. But I just think from a standpoint of I was a younger person with tons of energy, and I needed to direct that energy somewhere. And youth football was something that I enjoyed. It was an opportunity to go out and play a game and get with your teammates. And then the physical part of it, if you have some, some of the kids that like to play a more physical sport. And honestly, the younger, what I've noticed is, yes, somewhere around 10, 11, 12 years old, you're moving at a faster pace where the impacts are a little bit, more meaningful. But some of the, you've seen it, Burt out there looking at some of these 6U and 8U games. I mean, they're not generating enough speed to create any velocity.
No, the biggest hits are coming out of the huddle when they run into one another. If I was Pop Warner, though, in youth football, here's the response that I think that I would make, is that it's important for kids to learn how to play this game, the fundamentals of playing with your head up, this, that, and the other thing. You can learn to play the game right at a younger age. Those fundamentals are easier to teach when you're a young person, and consequently the risk of injury, brain injury would be less if you learn how to play the game properly.
And to go off that, it's what people don't realize is, and we've all been young, if you take away tackle youth football, kids are just going to go out and play with no helmet on, no pads, and they're still going to tackle at that age. They're going to go watch the NFL. They're going to watch on TV college football, and you go out and you play tackle. You don't play flag football when you're that age out in the street or out in the field. I mean, at least you have helmets and you're taught how to tackle.
Correct.
All right.
No, and I think a lot of the safety stuff is starting to come in. I'm like with Heads Up Football, USA Football, all the different tackling certifications, all the things that coaches need to do to be prepared to do that. They took away a lot of those drills, now in the youth football from when I was coaching is you couldn't lay on the ground, get up, run into somebody. They took away the line, all these things that the bull in the ring, all the things that we felt were the ones that were unsafe. All those things have been taken out of youth football. So at this point, this is just more so sign the waiver and you understand the risk as a parent, as a kid, as a coach, and then let the kids play.
So you were at Morse with Coach Shaq, right?
That is correct.
So I'm going to assume that your practice at Mater Dei is not going to be the same as Shaq's practice back in the day at Morse, right?
No, I think you can't. I mean, even with right now, I mean, you got to stay up on all the rules and everything too, as far as the padded practices, back-to-back, padded practices, the 2-a-days. I think sometimes we did 3-a-days. I mean, we were doing a lot of hitting. So you can't do a back-to-back practices where you're hitting 2 straight practices. And I remember those days, and we're going 8 o'clock in the morning. And then we came back at 1 o'clock, and it was full gear both practices, and both of those practices were tackling to the ground.
What was it like to play for Coach Shaq?
You know what? It's something that in the moment you really don't realize how big of a deal it is. You really don't realize, how well respected he was in the community and coaching community. But after, I took a step back and you're older and you realize the impact that he had on all those kids that are coming through that community, the discipline, the structure that he provided, and gave us a platform to showcase our abilities. I mean, what I loved about Coach Shaq is we traveled to Hawaii. We're a bunch of inner city kids, Morse High School. We fundraised, we got together, he got sponsors, he got some people to help out as well. But we raised money and we got a chance to travel to Hawaii. We played in Los Angeles. And I mean, in today's world, he'd probably be one of those guys that'll play any of those top teams around the country. So I do respect that about him. He gave us an opportunity and a platform to kind of showcase our abilities, and he trusted that we would go and perform. So over the course of 4 years, I think we had a pretty good run.
Is there anything from his era that you, in the back of your mind, you use as either a coaching tool or a tip or philosophy?
I think you look at guys like him, he kept it very simple. If we can run the ball and we're more physical and they don't score, we will win a lot of games. I think that still holds true today. We saw that yesterday when we want to go back to the Eagles game. They couldn't stop. They couldn't tackle. They couldn't make the big plays when they need it. And if you look at the NFL, you look at college, we go back to the national championship game. That was physical domination by the fronts, the line of scrimmage. So that was something that Coach Shaq believed in. We didn't throw the ball as much. I was a quarterback, so I do remember I did not throw the ball a whole lot. But when I did, we tried to make some big plays, surrounded with the running game. But our whole thing was to get you to basically tap out physically because we were just going to run the ball down your throat.
Yeah, we brought that up last week. I mean, if you watch a national championship game, that could have been a game from 1985. I mean, as far as, play design, it was just domination. And then you watch it again last night up front. Have we gotten too far, you think, in football where we just outthink ourselves and trick ourselves with 18 different formations to run the same play? Or, we have to have all these crazy video game concepts now? I mean, really, does it still not come down to whoever wins up front?
It comes down to blocking and tackling, winning up front. You have to be able to run the ball. You have to be able to run the ball when they know you're running the ball. It's the different things to be up by 50 points, and then you go and you hand the ball off and you run and you surprise them, whatever. But if you're down by 6 and you need to score, or if you're up by 6 and you need to hold on to the ball, the physical ability to run the ball when they know you're running the ball is still something that the game is never going to change. I mean, we can fast forward 50 years from now, play this podcast back. If you can't run the ball on 4th and 1, on 3rd and 3, in the goal line situations, you're just gonna it's gonna be hard to win games. Put it that way.
All right. So now, what is more difficult, to be a young coach taking over an unsuccessful program, or an established coordinator taking over a successful program? Which has more pressure on said coach?
Whoever decides that they're under pressure. I don't feel like it's under pressure to emulate John at all. I don't feel like there's under pressure to do anything. I just got to do what I know to do. I've been around the game for, gotta make myself sound old, but I've been around the game for 35 years. So I've been playing since I was 9 years old. So 10 years old. So I understand the game. And I just got to be me. I got to bring what I bring to the table, which could be different than John, but I think there's some really good things that he did. He's a great communicator when it comes to the kid. The kids love him. And I just want to continue to kind of have that environment, that natural, just, feel for the game. That stuff will come out. So I think the pressure is, if you put it on yourself, whether you're a new coach, established coach, we know how it is right now, dealing with parents and dealing with kids, dealing with playing time, dealing with scholarship opportunities, dealing with transfers, dealing with all those things. There's going to be pressure on a new guy or an old guy regardless. We're all dealing with the same stuff. So it really depends on how you kind of process those things.
Yeah, and I guess that's the other question. You named about 10 things, and some are exclusive to private schools. Do you have time to coach anymore? Or does it come to the point at a school like that or a private school or anything at this day and age? Is most of it just,
management?
Are you a general manager or you actually get to coach?
No, you get to coach. If it was just a general manager, that's not something I would sign up for. My thing is, I feel like this game is a beautiful game that allowed me an opportunity to travel all over the world, allowed me an opportunity to go to college and play, and then play in the NFL and provide a living for my family. So I look at the game a little bit differently, and it also was one of those things that helped me stay focused. Knowing that I want to go to college, knowing that it was a great opportunity to go to a really good school, with football right in front of you. I just think, well, knowing all that, it's just it's if it came down to just the administrative part and all that, I wouldn't do it. I'm doing this to be in the trenches with the kids, to provide them with guidance and all of those things that they need to be successful, and just using my experience, but also their experience is going to be different. We're in a generation where, you look at what KUSI was a long time ago. They had one camera out there just filming kind of more of the game of the week and showed highlights on a Friday night. Now we're doing a podcast in the middle of the week and talking about football, and it's the off season. Yeah. So it's a year round thing. I think a lot of those guys a long time ago were, on campus, coaches, ADs, teachers. They were my math teachers, English teachers. And it was more like a kind of extracurricular, stay around. They loved the game and they coach, and then they get away and they come back in the summer and we coach and then just go through the season again. But it is definitely year round now. It's changed.
Yeah, for sure. For a time, as you guys were piling up your third state title, it looked like you were the top rung in the privates, in the three private significant prominent. Let me try this again. There are three prominent high school football private programs in the county. Yours, St. Augustine, and Cathedral. St. Augustine's obviously hit some tough times, and a lot of their guys went over to Cathedral. Do you feel like you will have the pipeline to threaten, to maintain your name in that conversation as one of the preeminent private schools in Southern California?
I think so. If we continue to do things the right way, that's the most important thing, is doing things the right way. I don't want to be associated with something where we're, not doing it the right way. I feel like I've established myself as a person that the parents can trust when they send their kid to play at Mater Dei. And so the ones that are in the program, just getting the feedback from the parents, they were excited for me to get the opportunity to kind of lead the kids. And I've been there for 5 years, so I've been a part of that success, the 2 state titles, and of course the COVID years. So we've been through all the different things that you can go through in seasons. And then, last year was kind of like one of those years where looked like it could be a rebuilding year. We did have some young guys, but we also had some pretty good established senior guys. But we kind of fell short of what our goal was winning. We won league, but we want to win league, CIF, and then a state championship. That's the goals every year. So
I have a question that's totally off top because I don't segue into anything.
Okay.
But you're uniquely qualified for this. USC, right? You're picking your all USC team. You only got one spot. You taking Marcus or are you taking Reggie at running back?
You know what? That's a tough one because they're both San Diego guys, so I might get in trouble from the San Diego community.
That's why I didn't throw Charles White in there. I was going to throw Charles White in there. I'm like,
go ahead.
Let him
I know.
Come on, go out on,
you know
what's
funny story about Charles White? Rest in peace. He, my freshman year, 1995. I don't know what that made him. I know he was a 1979 Heisman Trophy winner. But 1995, I come in as a freshman. We had 12 guys in our class, and we didn't have a running back in the class. So the freshmen have to report early. And there was a guy out there running around with a USC jersey on, his number 12. His legs were thick. He looked like a young guy. I had no idea who he was, but he was just going through the drills. And then he takes his helmet off like halfway through practice, and it was actually Charles White.
Get out of here.
I had no idea. He looked like he could have been an incoming freshman at that point. So he was really good. I did get a chance to watch Reggie a little bit more than I did Marcus, with him being older. But I think Reggie, his impact on the game, I think at a time where, we're starting to get these TV contracts and these NIL deals, and his ability to make those amazing plays, I probably would lean towards Reggie in that sense. But you can't go wrong with either of those guys. But, yeah, I would think Reggie.
I'd have to go with Marcus. I mean, people don't realize with Marcus would tear your head off on a block. He would go block DNs. He would go, anything. A lot of running backs that can run like that do not do that, and he would just kill you.
Let me tell you my Marcus story. I was working in Kansas City. Marcus was wrapping up his career there, and I'm in a film room one-on-one with Mike McCarthy, who was then a position coach for Marty Schottenheimer in Kansas City. And we were talking about Marcus Allen, and he goes, "Come here, I want you to see something." And he was showing a pass play where the pass rush, when the quarterback went back, the defensive lineman would put their arm up in the air.
He'd break your ribs.
And he would throw an elbow into the side of the oncoming, and then he showed, now watch this play 10 minutes later, and the linemen were now putting their arms in the air like little alligator arms. And he was just speaking to how he was just mean on the football field.
Yeah.
He didn't run scared. He ran angry. And, I'll never forget. It was a cool moment.
Yeah, no, he was
different. Watching at home, you don't see that. You don't see the elbow in the ribs.
I've seen it.
But, it's back in the day, that was what, the 90s? That was pretty late 90s. You got a question? Because I got a bunch.
Oh, no.
No, go ahead.
Yeah.
No, I didn't have anything. I was waiting on you guys.
Oh, okay. No, I was waiting on Burt, but he never takes the.
I'm having ear problems.
All right. So, kind of getting back to my question about the pipeline. Coach V goes to Mater Dei, and
Aaron Jones goes.
And then you got which appears to be a mass exodus to Cathedral.
Saints.
To
Cathedral, yeah.
Yeah, to Cathedral. Is your pipeline of youth football players still safe as far as you're concerned? Do you have resources, I guess is what I'm asking.
If you just look at the community of Chula Vista as a whole, just kind of growing. Bert, you've been out here a lot. You live out this way. You understand exactly where it is, the growth, the development of it. You start looking at where we are. You still got Olympian right across the street. You have Otay Ranch. You have Bonita. You have Eastlake. There's those high schools within 5 high schools within a 5-mile radius. But there's tons of kids out here. There's great youth programs out this way. There's great resources out this way. And then, at the end of the day, this is a choice that they have to choose to go to Mater Dei. It's not a school that you go for free. It's not a public school. You have to make a choice. But I think over the last 5 years, what I realize is the right families, the right kids, it's the right fit. It's not a fit for everybody. And I don't anticipate getting every single kid, but the ones that are a right fit, academically and athletically, and then also, the good families who are in it for the right reason. So I'm not too concerned about that. I think we have some really good coaches. Myself, I'm heavily invested in the community. I've, coached at the youth level, been around here. I'm a resident out here. So I'm, walking the streets and I'm running, and I'm getting the feedback that I'm getting from the parents right now has been very positive. So I think we have to continue to just basically, shine a good light on the program, do things the right way, and the right kids and the right families will come. I'm not too concerned about that.
At the end of the day, you do have the advantage of it's a world-class education. It's a good education for parents who see both the student-athlete aspect of playing football.
No, I agree. That's what I said. So it's the right family's the right fit. If it's the right fit and the families, sit down and talk about it, and the private education is what they want, with the strong academics and some of the opportunities that are provided here, then they're going to make it work. If they don't see the value in that, then they're going to go somewhere else. But my focus is finding those people that do see the value in it. I think it kind of goes back to what, Mike Tomlin always says: you want volunteers, you don't want hostages, right? So you want the people who want to be there. I feel like that's a little bit more stickier than having a kid who comes in, as an 8th grader, and then now he's a 9th grader and the season don't go as he anticipated. And then they're ready to transfer out. I want the kids ready for the long haul. I want to coach my coaches up to make sure that they're coaching the kids and being a part of their lives as well, outside of football. So that's really the environment that I want, is just similar to what I had. I feel like I can go talk to my coaches at any time, and they weren't just there to coach football. They were on campus teaching English, math. They were good people in the community, so all those different things. So I think the pipeline is there just because of the youth sports in general. And it seems like nowadays, it used to be I lived, a mile away from Morris High School. I was automatically going to Morris High School. Now kids are taking more visits and tours and treating it a little bit more like, the college experience. So they'll come and they'll check out Mater Dei. They'll go check out Saints, all these other places. And then they'll ultimately decide on where they want to settle in. And then it's our job to make sure that the experience is good enough for them to stay the long haul.
Yeah, and I had a unique thing. When John was there, I think Matt White, they opened remember it was Marian Catholic. They opened a new school, and everybody assumed everybody would be like Marian Catholic. And the first year there, I think there was 200 kids. There was 3 kids that spoke English on the football team. That was it. So I would help with his D-line, and you had to have one kid come over and translate what you were saying. And Eastlake was, CIF champs, and it just seemed like, if you look back, and not to bring up John again, what he did in that 17-year period from that day, the first day, is just incredible. The school, even the school itself, facilities, they got a pool now. It's amazing how quick it came along.
Mm-hmm. No, I think that's what I'm saying. It's a growing community. I feel like just from people naturally living in the area, you're pulling from a bigger amount. You got to think that was in 2000. I think the school opened in 2006.
Yeah, something like that.
New campus somewhere around 2006. We didn't have the Millennium Mall back there, the Otay Ranch Town Center, Millennium Project, all these new developments that are growing and bringing more people in the community. You look at the massive complex that is coming up right there in the Otay Ranch Town Center. I think that's 3,000 housing units right there. So Eastlake, Otay Ranch, Mater Dei, Olympian should reap the benefits of some more kids coming in the community. So it's just presenting yourself, making sure the doors are open, and then also putting a good product out on the field, and then the academics, which that's something that will never, go away. The academic standard, that's not going to waver. Yeah, ups and downs year to year with wins and losses based off personnel and coaching and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, you look at Mater Dei, the reason I came there and had my boys there is 99.9% of the students are going to 4-year universities once they graduate. So now you look at you take that component out. I'm not the biggest thing that most people want for their kids is to go to college.
Right.
So when you go there and you're getting all the right courses, you have the right academic counselors, you have the right, academic integrity, then it becomes kind of a no-brainer that kids are going there, and then football just becomes the extra part of it.
Right.
So.
Oh, Coach, I think you're sitting pretty, frankly, from where we sit. First of all, it's a booming area. People are, and with the opportunities, the money that's being pumped in the Chula Vista area, as far
Correct.
as I think you're sitting pretty.
No, I agree. That's what I said. I think there's a lot of things that are giving us some good tailwind. So
yeah,
like you said, growing community. The campus is nice. You just take a tour. You look at the campus. It's great. They have everything. The new field, the basketball gym gone over. I know there's going to be some more major renovations going on that will come down the line, but everything they're doing is looking to do it like first class, that's what got me excited about being there and excited about the future.
See, you need a sugar daddy to fill in the stadium and make that a perfect bowl. I mean,
yeah.
You could. I mean, you have the space for it.
That'd be nice. I mean, I'm looking at, of course, we can all go and play with someone else's money, but I'm like, we should have a Jumbotron in the end zone. We should have a big facility down there. I mean, all those different things. Of course, you can do it all with the right money, but right now it's really managing the roster, the kids that are there currently, making sure I'm providing them with all the information that they need, and then getting the schedule worked out. So it's like I've been on the job for a week, so I'm gonna keep my
keep an eye on all. You want to keep an eye on all the kids that are excelling in computer class, writing software, because those are the kids that are 10 years from now are going to be able to, after they sell their company, they'll be able to donate $100 million to you guys to finish the stadium up and the campus up.
100%. We got some tremendous guys, even the guys that do like a lot of our video stuff. A lot of the videos you see, we're in a day with social media and marketing and all that stuff. So one of the guys that was doing all our video stuff, I mean, he was a kid who played on the football team and then decided to really get into the video production part. And he's doing it for football, basketball, all the sports, and I think the campus as a whole. So he's one of those guys that could be like one of those Emmy Award-winning producers, directors, and come back and do a special on Mater Dei or something. But no, it's good. We have some really good kids, like, of course, in sports, and then also just the kids walking the campus that are not playing sports. So I think it's a really good mix.
Not the competition, but didn't Cathedral had an alumni that produced Game of Thrones, and then they get their like something. I'm not gonna say what, but there you go.
Well,
exactly.
Hey, we're gonna let you go. Just a couple. I'm a son. I have a kid, and let's bring this conversation forward because we started with youth football and the dangers of it. You're talking to me and my boy Joey. Why should I expose Joey to the dangers of football?
It's one of the funniest things I always do when people come up to me. They know my experience in football. I played it since youth, all the way through college, NFL. And they always go, Rashard, my son wants to play football, or they want to sign their kid up for football. I think the biggest thing you can do, to be honest, is I would say sit down with the parent, but look the kid in the eye and ask the kid, do they want to play football? If they stutter, if they blink, if they're concerned, if they're nervous, they're hesitant, then I don't think it's the right time to put them out there. I think some parents want it more than the kids. The kid has to want to play football. I think that's the first thing first. So I think the kid has to have a little bit of a say-so. I know sometimes as parents, we think we know everything, but it's one of those sports that I don't think you force your kid to play. They have to want to play. If they want to play, then they're going to, take everything that comes with it. There's going to be the hitting component, the physical part, the tough days. The coach is going to make them run. He's going to yell. They're going to lose a game. They're going to get bumps. They're going to get bruises. But at the end of the day, all those things is what makes us a better person in the long run. I think some of the we've heard some horror stories of guys getting hurt. Of course, that's going to happen, but that's just in life. I was just talking to a parent the other day, and they were saying, with football, man, it's dangerous. I was like, well, so is walking down the stairs every single day. So is driving to school. So is every single thing. If we find all the negative things about every single thing that we do on an everyday basis, then you're going to be stuck. You're going to be paralyzed. You can't move forward. So my thing is, does the kid want to play, or does the parent want the kid to play more than they do? So if the kid wants to play, I think finding, the right organization, being involved as well, and educating yourself on those different things as far as the safety of the equipment. When Burt and I played, the equipment wasn't as safe as it is today. The rules of the game have been regulated to take a lot of those different things out of it, the practice, the structure of that, even going down to the youth level. They've already put in legislation that you can't practice longer than 2 hours a day, X amount of times a week. You only have one game a week. You shouldn't be doing multiple games a week. So all those things are getting better. But we can't just bubble wrap the kids and hope that nothing ever happens. They don't get any bumps and bruises. Just kind of part of you transitioning into, being a young man. And if you want to play this game later, the physical part's still going to be there. And
that's, because you brought up earlier, at Morris, 3 practices a day, full hitting, finish it up with conditioning after a 12-hour day. you never had to ask anybody if they wanted to play football because they wouldn't be there if they didn't want to. But now with the rules, it's a lot of them want to do it just to wear the jersey at school, and it's really not that hard practice. That it's not a sacrifice. But like you said, back in the day, 8-9 hours a day, every day of straight hitting. I mean, you were there, or else you weren't there.
Exactly. No, you have to embrace it. If you didn't, you'll weed yourself out. You wouldn't play. I mean, we were in a situation where we didn't carry much. I think it's very similar to Mater Dei, where we didn't have a really big roster at Morris. Although we were one of the bibiggest public schools in San Diego, I think at a point where we were at 2,500 students, which was big. We were in Division I, the largest division. So, which would be considered now maybe like the open division. We were always there, but we only carried 35, 40 guys on a roster, and 7 or 8 of those guys are going both ways. So you had to get everybody ready. But those other guys, we used to call them the Flying Tigers. They were the guys who were running down on kickoff, jumping over the wedge and busting up the wedge, or the gunners running down there and making big plays. So we were not like a really, really big team. But like you're saying, Burt, the guys who bought in, they actually bought in. And we had a lot of success with that, because sometimes, some of those guys are just, like you said, they're there for the pictures, and they get to walk out and wear the jerseys on Friday. So
you guys are describing me.
Yeah, Paul. Hey. Sorry, I didn't mean I didn't mean to make it obvious. I'm sorry.
The NFL guys ganging up.
Did I make it obvious? I'm sorry.
If it wasn't for me, you guys wouldn't look so good.
True.
Coach, we kept you longer than we agreed to. So on that note, thank you. I suspect we'll be chatting much more as we get closer to the season. But thank you for making time for the PPR, and it is greatly appreciated. We wish you nothing but success.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rashard.
You're a very good spokesperson for the game. And
do you rent out that room for events or anything like that?
Is that the clubhouse?
No, I rent it out for the kids to play video games and do their homework.
I'll just sit right there.
All right, Coach. Take care. Thank you. PPR Podcast 149 is over. Turn off the machines.